The NASCAR Cup Series race at Circuit of the Americas delivered some serious drama this weekend. Kyle Busch was this close to ending his painful winless streak when Christopher Bell swooped in for the victory. But what happened after the race has everyone talking. Remember last year's COTA race? Bell and Busch had that heated confrontation on pit road after Bell spun Busch in turn 1. The two drivers clearly weren't on good terms heading into this weekend's action. Fast forward to Sunday, and Kyle Busch dominated the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix, leading a race-high 42 laps. The Richard Childress Racing driver looked finally ready to snap his winless drought that has now stretched to a painful 60 races. Bell, meanwhile, entered COTA with momentum after winning at Atlanta Motor Speedway the previous weekend. Could he possibly go back-to-back? Kyle Busch spent much of Stage 1 behind leader Shane Van Gisbergen and noticed something strange. Busch said over his radio, "I've just been around a few guys that aren't paying attention to the candy stripes in turn 6. They're just jumping to the red asphalt and staying inside of them. Very unclear as to what we're supposed to do." The confusion stemmed from NASCAR's inconsistent enforcement of track limits. In the pre-race meeting, drivers were told they would be penalized for cutting corners, but NASCAR was only enforcing limits in turns 3, 4, and 5, not turn 6. When asked about this after the race, Busch didn't hold back. "I heard they were going to police turns 4, 5, and 6, and then it turned into 3, 4, 5. And yesterday it was only 4 and 5. So they ain't got a clue." Chase Elliott echoed the confusion with his own humorous take. "We're always confused. We just stay confused. We live confused, I do." Despite the track limit's confusion, Busch built a comfortable lead. The pivotal moment came on lap 78. Busch had pitted 2 laps earlier than Bell during the final green flag stops and held a 2.6-second lead over Byron and a 4.0-second advantage over Bell. Then disaster struck for Busch when Denny Hamlin locked his brakes into turn 6A and knocked Austin Dillon's Chevrolet into a gravel trap. The caution flag flew, erasing Busch's hard-earned lead in an instant. Randall Burnett, Busch's crew chief, said, "We were in a tough spot being the leader. When the caution comes out, it gives him Bell a free pass to erase a 4 or 5-second gap for no penalty on his tires." On the restart, Busch desperately tried to hold off Bell, but those fresher tires made a huge difference. Bell had pitted 2 laps after Busch, giving him slightly newer tires for the final battle. The battle between Busch and Bell in the closing laps was incredible. Busch threw every defensive move possible at Bell, but the Joe Gibbs Racing driver kept coming. At one point, Bell nearly crashed into Busch. Bell recounted, "I'm sure everyone saw it getting into turn 1. I'm like, all right, I got him now, I got him. I drove in there and locked the rears up and I'm sliding. I had to go right to try and miss him. Thankfully, I did miss him." Bell eventually made the pass with 6 laps remaining, but during the intense battle, there was contact between the 2 cars that proved critical. Busch said, "The contact we made with Bell there between turns 2 and 3 bent the right rear, and it was a completely different race car after that. So, hate it for all the guys and everybody with Rowdy Nation and RCR." After the contact damaged his car, Busch fell back, ultimately finishing 5th as Chase Elliott also passed him on the final lap. After the race, everyone expected an angry Kyle Busch. Would he blast Bell for the contact? Would there be another confrontation? Instead, Busch stunned everyone with what he said. In his interview with Fox, Busch said, "I'll give Christopher credit though where credit is due. He ran me really hard and I was a complete butthead, but he did a great job working me over and just doing it the right way and being able to get by. Congrats to him, good job to the 20 bunch, but I wish it was us."
I'll give Christopher credit though where credit's due, and he ran me really hard and I was a complete butthead, but he did a great job working me over and just doing it the right way and being able to get by. So congrats to him, good job to the 20 bunch, but wish it was us.
This admission from Kyle Busch, acknowledging his own past behavior and giving Bell credit for racing the right way, left the NASCAR world shocked. Remember, these two had that heated confrontation just last year at this same track. Bell was clearly thinking about last year's incident as he battled Busch for the win. Bell said, Whenever Kyle was leading, I was just trying to be so cautious. Obviously, we know what happened last year. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to pass him clean.
Whenever Kyle was leading, I was just trying to be so cautious. Obviously, we know what happened last year. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to pass him clean.
The Joe Gibbs racing driver admitted Busch made it extremely difficult. He was just doing such a good job at running his race, and he could get off the corners just good enough that I couldn't get inside of him. But there I started peeking a nose, and he bobbled and allowed me to get out front. After taking the lead, Bell said, "Those were about the 5 or 6 sloppiest laps I've ever run." Bell also acknowledged how challenging it was to pass Busch. Kyle Busch, whenever he got out front, I just was like, I'm trying my hardest to get position on him to outbrake him, and he was attacking his brake zone so hard that I could not get there. While Busch showed remarkable sportsmanship, his frustration with the circumstances was evident. He specifically pointed to 2 factors that cost him the win. The late caution. I hated to see that yellow that came out. I felt like we had a little bit of a gap there, enough of a gap that I was protecting my tires. I could run all of the lines I wanted to run. I didn't have to run defensive lines and really use up my stuff.
I also hated to see that yellow that came out. I felt like we had a little bit of a gap there, enough of a gap that I was protecting my tires. I could run all the lines I wanted to run. I didn't have to run defensive lines and really use up my stuff even more so.
About the tire disparity, Busch said, "I just wish we had equal tires to the 20. Once we had that yellow, you're just in defense mode." Hated the contact in 2 and 3 bent the toe link. As reported by Jeff Gluck of The Athletic, Kyle Busch said he knew he was putting himself in a vulnerable position with throwing every crazy block he could, but Christopher Bell chose to race him cleanly and he appreciated it. He thinks the caution was the difference. The 5th place finish extended Busch's winless streak to 60 races, dating back to June 20th, 2023 at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Despite this crushing disappointment, Busch remained surprisingly upbeat. He told PRN Radio, "If we can keep getting top 5s and leading laps like that, the wins will come." On social media, Busch posted, "Led the most laps and had the best car all day. Rowdy Nation deserved that one. If we keep doing what we're doing, it won't be long." The race represented a strong performance for Busch's team after a difficult start to the weekend. Busch said, "Good piece. I was really scared when we unloaded. We were not where we wanted to be. The guys made really good adjustments to the race car, got it a lot better, and put it where we needed it to be to go out there and have a contending car for the race today."
Yeah, no, good piece. I was really scared when we unloaded. We were not where we wanted to be, but guys made really, really good adjustments to the race car, got it a lot better, put it where we needed it to be to go out there and have a contending car for the race today.
With a 7th place finish at Atlanta the previous week, this marked the first time Busch has scored consecutive top 10 since September of last year. While the focus has been on Busch's reaction, let's not overlook Bell's achievement. This victory marks the first time in Bell's career he's won back-to-back races. He's now the first driver in the 2025 season, with multiple wins. The last driver to win 2 races in a row within the first 3 weeks of a season was Kevin Harvick back in 2018, when he won at Atlanta and Las Vegas. Bell's victory at COTA was his 11th career Cup Series win and his first at the Texas road course. Interestingly, Bell had specifically identified COTA as a track where he expected to perform well. Bell said, "Just super proud for everyone on this DeWalt number. 20 team. We didn't count on last week. Last week was a speedway. We didn't have that one circled. We definitely had this one circled. I'm ready to keep adding to it."
Just super proud for everyone on this DeWalt number 20 team. We didn't count last week. Last week was a speedway. We didn't have that one circled, but we definitely had this one circled, and I'm ready to keep adding to it.
As the NASCAR Cup Series heads to Phoenix Raceway next weekend, all eyes will be on Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell. Will their newfound mutual respect continue? Or will the intense competition reignite tensions?